How's it going, guys? Time flies. We meet again. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you have downloaded the digital book. Today, we're going to proceed our lesson.
Alright guys, so today we are going to continue our lesson, which is Starter Unit Lesson 2. If you have downloaded the digital book, please turn to page 5. Before we proceed to the lesson, let's talk about the objective to achieve today. At the end of this lesson, you are able to use the verb be and introduce people. Today, we are also going to learn about subject pronouns and possessive adjectives. So first, let's talk about subject pronouns. Well, let me give you an example. Well, if you look at this picture, you'll realize that subject pronouns is actually a pronouns that you use on your daily basis. And they are I, you, we, they, he, she, it. I bet it does ring a bell right now, isn't it? Now, if you look at this example, you realize that subject pronouns always to be used together with verb be. And now with the guidance of this table, you'll realize which verb be belongs to which subject pronouns. Now let's try an example. If the subject pronouns is he, she, or it, the verb be is and not are. Bear in mind that usually verb be is used after the subject pronouns. Now if you look at these two columns, verb be can be used as affirmative statement and negative statement. Affirmative statement is something that you agree on, and negative statement is something that you are not agree on. So now let's look at an example. This is Xiu Mei. She is from China. So where is the subject pronouns? Yes, you are correct. It's she. To identify the subject pronouns, all you have to do is to identify the verb be, which is, in this situation, is. Now bear in mind that with all the sentences and passage you read, the subject pronouns doesn't only consist in I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Please look at the references. In most cases, people tend to use the references more than subject pronouns. Let's look at the first example. You can use Jack, my brother, the police to replace the subject pronouns he. Let's look at another example. The cat, flower, photo, book. It can be used to replace the subject pronouns it. And as you can see, flower is a living thing. Photo is a non-living thing. Subject pronouns it can be used to refer to non-living thing and living thing. Now let's try an example for affirmative and negative statement. Please look at this clip. What are these? These are horses. And if you refer to the table, you can see that horses are animals. Animals use the subject pronouns it. Now let's look at the next table. Normally, if there is one horse, then we use subject pronouns it. But in this situation, you can see there are more than one horse. So we are going to use they. So what is the affirmative statement for subject pronouns they? Yes, you are correct. It is are. So the answer is horses are animals. Now let's look at another example. I interested in video games. Now let's look at the table again. Subject pronouns I. What is the affirmative statement? Yes, you are correct. It is am. So the answer is I am interested in video games. Now let's try a negative example. Oxford in Malaysia. Now let's grab the table and take a look again. Oxford is a non-living thing. Therefore, subject pronouns is it. Let's grab another table and take a look. The negative statement for subject pronouns it is isn't or is not. So there you have it. That's the answer. Oxford isn't in Malaysia. Oxford is not in Malaysia. So now let's talk about possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are my, your, their, his, her, its, our. So when do we use possessive adjectives? Where do we put it? So if you look at this table, you realize that possessive adjectives always use before the nouns. Note that the nouns are divided into two categories, which is living things and non-living things. Now let's go back to Siu Mei. This will be a great example of using possessive adjectives. This is my friend Siu Mei. Her parents are doctors. As I've mentioned earlier, possessive adjectives are used before the nouns. So now let's identify the possessive adjectives. The first one is my, and the second one is her. We know this because there is a noun after the possessive adjectives. Now let's look at another example. Our house is next to their house. So the possessive adjectives of this sentence is our and their. How do we know this? As you can see, after the possessive adjectives are the nouns.
So that concludes our lesson today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you the next one.